Welcome to the Writers Clinic. In today's episode, we are going to answer a very important question. Are writers born or made? Over 30 years ago, I wrote a small children's novella and gave it the title Albert the Chameleon. I was then an undergraduate student at Kenyatta University. I was so proud of my creation and quickly dispatched it to a publisher. What followed was a rejection slip. I tried other publishers and all rejected the manuscript. I was crestfallen and my pride was devastatingly punctured. I revised it a number of times, but rejections kept coming. But a few years ago, I revisited the story with perhaps better understanding of the art of storytelling. I even changed the title to Nyenyeka the Chameleon. Finally, a local publisher accepted it. It occupies a comfortable place in the Orange Book by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. It is quite popular as a reader at upper primary school level. This brings me to the fundamental question of the day that we need to grapple with. Why were publishers rejecting my manuscript? It is simple. I had the imagination of a good story, but I didn't know how to tell it. This experience should help us answer the question, are writers born or made? Can writing be taught? From my experience that I've just narrated, some aspects can be taught, but others are inborn. Let me take the liberty of quoting Alice LaPlante in her famous book entitled Method and Madness, The Making of a Story. In this book, she makes very interesting observations. She says that to produce a good work, a writer is driven by two things, method and madness. Method can be learned in an academically rigorous, systematic manner. It refers to the act of organizing and formatting a work of art. I want to presume that this is what I lacked in my formative years. So writing is a craft. It can be acquired, practiced, and mastered. In this sense, writers can learn about style, narrative, and scene building in a writing class. They can master how to characterize people and build a solid plot. They can also be taught aspects of language which are critical in writing. They can be taught how to create believable dialogue. They can also be taught how to be convincing, how to create surprises, and many other things. But I think the teaching ends here. The second aspect which is critical in creative writing is what Alice LaPlante calls madness. Each one of us is born with our own measure of it. This is what is often referred to as inspiration or imagination. In every writer, there is some degree of madness. A writer will be inspired to create associations that other ordinary mortals may not visualize. To be creative is, to some degree, to be wild, free, chaotic, and adventurous. One has to be wild to see what others do not see. The writer has to be free to defy inhibitions and conjure up wild imaginations. One has to be adventurous to experience, feel, and touch the world around. I think the biggest challenge to any writer is how to bring method and madness together. So, how can one who is highly inspired be in sufficient presence of mind to shape all the raw materials into something coherent? How then can one reconcile the madness and method? Unfortunately, many writers are unable to reconcile the two. Perhaps that is why the world has very few writers. I almost gave up writing those early years because of this fact. Alice Laplante has also observed, and rightly so, that to bridge this dichotomy, one needs to reconcile the working of the left and the right part of the brain. The brain has two sides and therefore two modes of thinking. The left brain is logical, sequential, and rational. The right brain is random, intuitive, and holistic. We are largely using the left brain, which embodies the analytical skills. These skills are only good for editing a story. We are trained to favor our left brain over our right brain. This is definitely bad for the creative process, especially in generating new stories. So, are writers born or made? Yes, they are born, then made through training. On that note, we come to the end of today's episode, in which we grapple with the question, are writers born or made? Coming to you from Kahawa Sukari Estate, Kahawa Sukari Avenue, 1335. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe so that you receive our continuous updates. On behalf of my crew, Neka and Pami, I would like to welcome you again and again for more episodes of the Writers Clinic.